AltSpaceVR, and we are going to today look at how we create a slideshow in a world in AltSpace. And a couple things you need to know if you're just jumping into this game, and this is going to be one of my usual stumble-throughs where I'm just riffing it. I'm not devoting, because I want to do a lot of these, I'm not devoting a whole lot of time to setting this up. We'll see what happens. I'll make mistakes. You may learn from those mistakes, or you may get annoyed and just leave. That's up to you. You can always come back in. But first thing you need to know about AltSpaceVR is that a lot of the work goes on in the web browser parts. You log in AltSpaceVR and you have the web version, browser version or account. And then you have the software that you get from over here and you download on your PC, and then you launch that. And you can also launch that in VR using the Oculus Rift, the Oculus Quest, the HTC Vive, in Steam or in Oculus. So, but right now I'm in the web part of it, and here's where you upload your photos that you want to put into your slideshow. So it's very important that you start there, as opposed to the game itself, which I'll jump into right now. I'm using OBS Studio, so bear with me because I have to transition over once I reveal. I'm going to turn on Game Capture. So now let's do a cut to, so this is the actual AltSpace game. And in the AltSpace game, this is where you do your world building and where you set up your screens for your slideshow. But you have to have uploaded, you have to upload the slides as photos first, so you have access to them. This is the standard home world that everybody gets when you first get an account in AltSpace. You can always change that, but this is what most people get. And it gives examples of the sort of thing, the sort of props that you can put in. So one of them is, for example, the screen. So you can actually invite people in here, and by clicking on this web, you have the ability to type in URLs. So if you type in, for example, let's see, our solarcities.eu projects website, you can have people come in the room, and then you can have a conversation about the various biodigesters, like this one over in Tamara, Solar Village, right? So you have this ability. It's not a perfect interface. You want to teach people about learning about education, about watching videos. You know, you're using the website, but people are standing around in the room. And unfortunately, unlike VR chat, it doesn't seem to be like you can't sit on the couches. But then again, you're an avatar, and you're already sitting at home, so why would you need to? But you can, you can then click on stuff, and you can broadcast YouTube stuff. And where the sound went to, I do not know. It seems to be up here, but I'm not hearing it for some reason. All right, that's interesting. It should play. I don't know. Somebody in the world might hear it. Maybe if it. Don't really know why I'm not hearing that. Another thing you can do, of course, is you can click on this and you can go to the web and you can actually just put in YouTube. So if you put in youtube.com/your channel, then you can get to your channel. So you can show websites, you can browse. And actually, right now, it shows that we're live streaming this very tutorial. So you have that ability, and you can add those screens in your game. But this is already in your home world. Okay. Out on the porch here, I hope actually people can see this. I hope it actually showed up. I don't know. I've got to go to. This whole thing could be a bust if it's not showing up. My transition from OBS Studio. It looks like it is. So let me just turn on YouTube for a second and make sure that my stream is actually streaming in there. Maybe there's a lag or something. But I've built a biodigester that you can see here, and I did it in world. So what's happening here? Yes, okay, so it is working. Let's see if the audio is working. Yes. All right, so the audio is working. So I built this biodigester in here because it's one advantage that AltSpace has over VR chat is that you can build while you're with people in a world. So for example, I've built this and I might then challenge somebody else. This is an arty style corporate rural technology India biodigester. Might ask other people to build something, and I can put another one, a mini one. This is maybe a 2,000 liter system. And the way you do it is you right click, this is on the PC, you right click to call up your menu and you go to World Editor over here, and then you have basics and you got browsers you can put in and teleporters, or you can go to kits and you can do the basic geometrics. That's what I did for this. And all I did to create this biodigester, because it's so simple, is I put in a cylinder, and the cylinder appears to the right in edit mode. See, edit mode is in red up here. The cylinder appears here, and then you can left click and drag to move it. And to size it, you want to left click and then use the scroll wheel. So you better have a mouse with a scroll wheel. Don't ever try to do any of these things without a mouse. It just doesn't work. This is limited in its editing capabilities. I can't independently edit each axis, so it's sort of like the scaling is scaling in all three axes at the same time. So it has limited utility there, but I can create it in-game. Otherwise you'd use Unity to do more sophisticated creations. And then it appears as a cylinder. It's this one here that's unlocked. And I probably want to immediately go and change the name and call it Digester Base 2. And I can give it a different color. Let's see if we do a red color. Current selected. All right, and confirm. And then but you can't do any copying. That's the one unfortunate thing with this. So if you want to add another cylinder, you got to go up and select cylinder again. It'd be nice if you could just click on this and copy. You can't. So I can add the other cylinder there, and then right-click to get this darn window to stay still. Left-click on the cylinder, and notice it's somehow tilted, and that's because of my camera angle. And there's no Control Z to go back. So you're kind of stuck there. And so one recommendation is that you turn on rotation lock before you start manipulating, or you're going to get in trouble. So now right-click to freeze that menu, left-click on this, move it there, and it's kind of tilted, but that's the way they usually are in RD. But if you do want to rotate it, then you left-click on it, and you really want to change your camera view, because that's how you change rotation. This is a world in which it's as if you were standing holding the object, so the rotations are going to be based on your, oops, get this out of the way, left click and move that, based on your camera view. And rotation is a real pain. So if you're having trouble, as I often do with rotations, then go into the actual menu and find your Digester Base 2, click on the gear, and then go to rotation, and you can reset your rotations in X, Y, and Z in here. So 0, 0, 0, and then confirm. Oh, that did that one. Do the same thing for this one here. This is cylinder 1, which I should rename. And let's change the color to make sure I have the right cylinder. Let's get a green top for the heck of it. Yeah, that's the one. And this cylinder here, which is cylinder 1, give a name, and name is going to be Digester Top 2, just because it's alphabetical. And I'll change the position, the rotation to 0, 0, 0 here. Now it's changed, then click on it and then sort of place it in. And you move around with the WASD keys as if you're in the game. So you're building in the game, and moving in the game. Now if I want to scale this once again, I left click on it and use the scroll wheel. Alright, so I've got that. And then you should always lock. Oops. you should lock these. Now this cylinder here, I'm not even sure how it came in the game, but it did. And here's the problem. I want to use a feed pipe on this digester, and in a real digester, the feed pipe would be going down to the bottom and would go all the way up to the top, and there'd be an elbow down at the bottom. And unfortunately, you cannot scale this just in the z-axis. See, if I scale it, I end up with this enormous pipe. And it doesn't give you any ability. So if I say cylinder, I'm not sure which cylinder, oh, this is the one that's not locked. So let me change this to a color that I can recognize, and let me change the value here into feed pipe digester 2. No, that didn't work. Feed pipe digester 2. That's because I didn't change the color. Selected feed pipe digester 2. Yeah, that's the right one. Now, if I can't see, I can't scale it. There's no scale other than a universal scale. So if I put this in as 0.5, then, or I'm huge. We try 0.5, and if I confirm it, I get a bigger pipe. But so what? It's not thin and tall. So there really is no way to make a good object out of an object. You'd have to bring in the pipe of the right size. AltSpace doesn't have it. So I'm going to click on this and use the scroll wheel to shrink it down. And what I'll do is I'll move it. I've got to move around again with the ASD keys. You got to get used to the idea that you're in this world moving around, and then you can place stuff. So I place this like this, and it is a bit disconcerting. And move around over here and move around over here. You just gotta feel like you're in the world and get used to this right-clicking, left-clicking thing. So if I move this in, of course, that is the way you would do it if you had one of these tanks that was larger than the inner tank, and we generally don't want that. We generally put our pipes outside so that we can use the maximum size gas storage tank and not have loose space. But if you can get a tank where there's enough space, then you put your feed pipe right in here. And then you have to put another feed pipe, an outflow pipe on the other side. So let me confirm this and let me lock this. This cylinder here, the other thing that I hate, that didn't work at all. Disappeared. So feed pipe digester 2. Why isn't it going in? Is it a collision thing, maybe? Let me scale this down a bit. And let me move over to... And I do also have to set this straight because it's not straight. Alright. Now, feed pipe digester 2 gets locked in place. And it's still not in the right place completely, so let's open it up again and move it out. Like that. I can't pause. No, I can't pause. I mean, I can come and grab him. Hold on, let me get the baby. Hey, kid. Hey. You just don't like to be left alone. You want to watch Daddy work? Let's watch Daddy work. Alright, so if you're wondering how a little kid like me has a little kid, it's because I'm using Snap Camera and I'm using a baby filter, which my daughter loves me to use so that she thinks she's talking to a little kid when we're playing games together online, but I'm actually an older guy, and I have a real baby here. Okay, little baby. How baby filter makes baby look. Right, so, right, the more baby can disappear, it'll make him into a zygote, something like that. All right, so now, what is this cylinder here that has a name? You should name everything, and I don't think I did, but I got to put the outflow pipe, so I need to create another cylinder. Maybe I'll just take a pipe this time, and there's the pipe. But again, it's of its own length, and that's a pain. And in this case, I do need to rotate this pipe, so I'm going to turn off rotation lock. But as I said, rotating is really awkward in this game. So I've not found a good way to do it yet. It's like, ugh, what do you do? How do you rotate? You know what I mean? It's like, ugh. So you can do minor rotations, but really the best thing to do is to keep on rotation lock. And let's take this pipe long. This is the open one. Let's name it outflow pipe. Oops. Outflow pipe digester 2. And let me give it a color so I know that I'm working on the right one. And make it nice and colorful. And then for the rotation, rotating in what axis? I think that the way that you determine that is by first setting everything to 0, and then you can figure out in your local world space what the rotation is. So I know that I'm not supposed to rotate about Z. Z is Y in this program. This is not Blender. Y is up and down, so rotating in Y would just spin it around its axis. So the question is, do we want to rotate 90 degrees in Z or in X? Let's try, nope, it was the wrong one. So that's the X axis, let's put X back to 0, and let's go 90 in X. All right, and now move it in to the side of the tank. Of course, this involves moving around the tank, and it's way too big. But again, you got to kind of make your view like you're standing in front of the tank, and then you can get it there. And now let me click left click and use the scroll wheel to shrink the scale and place the overflow pipe like that. And then right click and then lock it. So we've built an RD biodigester just using primitives, using just a couple of pipes. I guess I should have used a pipe that had an open hole in the top. It doesn't really matter. It's just a representation that shows that when you're doing a biodigester, you have a primary tank, which is where all of your manure goes, and it's filled with water up here. And then you pour your food waste in here, and the slurry, the liquid fertilizer, or liquid compost comes out here, and then the upside down tank that's floating in it rises and falls. And if you wanted to demonstrate that, there's no animation in this program, unfortunately. When you're doing it in the program, you'd have to bake it in with Unity. So the best you could do is show people when they're in the world, hey, you know, when you use up the gas, it goes down, and when you fill it, it goes up. That's about it. So there's a lot of limitations, but at least you can start in-game putting static objects in. That's pretty cool. So big digester, little digester, in-game. Now there is an interactivity to this if it's baked in. And the only ones that the game currently offers for you as a user is fireworks and a basketball hoop. So you can grab a basketball and then you can, not sure how you throw it in the PC. I don't know. How do you throw in the PC to get shift? You press 1. No. I have no idea. Especially with a baby on my lap. There it goes. Well, somehow it rolls. So it does have the ability for interactivity, but there's very limited amount of interactivity. Like this one here, you can get a rocket, and how do you launch it? I don't know. There you go. I guess I was using the scroll wheel, and then boom, you get fireworks. At any rate, you have some capabilities of creating a world. And what I want to do now is I want to create a slideshow in world. That's the purpose of this. Oh, little baby, if you would only just enjoy yourself. If you'd only just enjoy yourself. You're seeing all sorts of colorful things on the screen. Why is that not enough here? So I'm going to go into my world. This is the home place, but I've created my own world, Rosebud Continuum. And I can get at it because I've already built my world. So I have test world for Rosebud. And when we come in here, I'm in world. Wait to load. So here we are in Rosebud, such as it is. This is based on a Google map, so I can place the object more or less in the right position. And to show you that, I would have to go into my edit and set fly to allow myself to fly. That would be on input, and then fly is on. And now I should be able to go up into the air, way up to the top of this tree. Isn't that cool, man? All right. You keep going up. When you look down, you see where I actually put in, as my base plate, I put in the Google map. Oh, nice. And it's not perfect. It's not perfectly sized. I did that in Unity. That's something you cannot do in AltSpace. But at least it gives me some idea, and I can start positioning my trees where the trees really are. Eventually, I'll put the house in there. You know, there's things I have to move. Oh, baby, can you just enjoy? And got the alligator. So you get an idea by bringing Google Maps. Kind of put the road on top of the road. Inas, can you grab him? I'm trying to broadcast and he's not having it. Yeah. No, I can't.
What do you want?
He just wants to be like.
I can't take him outside when it comes. Just hold him forever.
Maybe I can get the rat. All right, why don't I pause for a moment here, just leave things running. I just got to put the baby in a wrap because the baby, it'll just take me just 2 minutes to do this. Put the baby, whoa, put the baby in a wrap, and then, no, if he's not going to poop for a while, he might. Yeah. Aroo. We'll just have to be watched.
Whenever he gets wet, he gets wet.
While I'm doing this. You know what they say, everybody wants kids to go back to school because they can't do work at home with the kids there. That's not true. You can do work if you have the right technology.
Anyway, our baby doesn't go to school.
Well, you know, and baby care, daycare, whatever. Daycare. Should be called not daycare, but day watch. Because they don't really care for them, they just watch them. That would be like day watch. And we need daycare. We need somebody to care for the day. Out. Almost back. While the diaper's going on. So when you're in this mode, so the house was actually in the wrong position. So you go back to World Editor and you can find. Oh, am I ready to put him on? more second. One more second here. All right. Get the baby in the right hole. Okay. Easy, baby. That's okay. You're going in the wrap. Yeah, you are. You are. You can't say no. No, I can't. You can't say no. I can't deny it. Okay, yeah, I'm not going in the wrap. You are going in the wrap. Again? Alright. You're in the wrap. You're almost in the wrap. Alright, let's put the other part of the wrap on your leg. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah. Nice and tight. Now you can go to sleep if you want to. Alright. Alright, so coming back. Alright, so you have buildings. If I unlock the buildings, something's supposed to move. Oh, why? Oh, you have to turn on edit mode. Okay, wait a minute. Easy, baby. I thought you were going to be relaxed when you're in here. And you're not. You're supposed to be, like, cooperative because you're in the wrap. Oh. Oh, no. Oh, no. Here. You're here. Alright, Daddy's trying to do some work. Right, so you go into edit mode. And buildings. Let's lock all. And then you can grab this house. Easy, baby. Oh, baby. Oh, this is horrible. Alright, I'll tell you what. I can't get anything done here. So, alright, it's okay, baby. So I'm going to stop broadcasting and come back to this when the baby's asleep. He is obviously not having it. Sorry about that.